Whispered Realms presents. Whispered Voices of the Forgotten. The forest stood cloaked in twilight. Ancient trees twisted towards the fading light. Shadows stretched out like long, grasping fingers. A sense of watchful stillness hung heavy in the air, broken only by the rustle of leaves and the murmur of the wind. But there were other whispers too, faint and forlorn, carried on the breeze. Whispers of forgotten things.
Elena, a young woman with eyes as dark as the forest depths, stood at the edge of the woods. She clutched an aged leather-bound journal in her hands. Its pages were filled with faded ink and strange symbols. It called to her, urged her forward into the deepening gloom. She took a breath, steeling herself against the growing chill, and stepped into the unknown.
The air grew colder, the whispers louder as she ventured deeper. They swirled around her, tugging at her clothes, whispering forgotten names and sorrowful tales. Elena shivered, pulling her cloak tighter. Fear pricked at her, but a strange sense of purpose kept her moving forward, deeper into the heart of the whispering woods. The journal was her guide. Its cryptic verses spoke of a forgotten place, a place of sorrow and shadows.
Elena traced the faded lines with her fingers, deciphering the riddles that led her through the winding paths. Each step deeper into the forest brought her closer to her destination. Days turned into nights. The moon became her only companion, casting an eerie silver glow upon the path. The whispers never ceased, but Elena was beginning to understand their language. They spoke of betrayal and loss, of a darkness that had seeped into the very soul of the woods.
Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the trees parted. A clearing lay ahead, bathed in the pale moonlight. In the center stood an ancient altar, its surface covered in moss and lichen. Elena approached cautiously, her heart pounding in her chest. This was the place the journal had spoken of, the heart of the forest's sorrow. As she drew closer, Elena could make out the details of the altar. Twisted faces, contorted in eternal agony, were carved into its surface. They seemed to writhe and reach out from the cold stone, their silent screams echoing the whispers that tormented the forest. It was a sight that chilled her to the bone.
Suddenly, a memory flashed before her eyes. She was a child again, huddled around a crackling fire in the village square. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of the whispering woods. They told tales of a ritual gone wrong, of spirits trapped and forgotten. Their voices, filled with fear and superstition, echoed in her ears.
Elena remembered the fear that had gripped her heart that night. But now, standing before the haunted altar, she felt something else. A sense of responsibility, a need to right a wrong that had haunted the woods for generations. The journal had led her here, given her the chance to heal the forest and lay the spirits to rest. Hidden beneath the moss, Elena discovered a circular indentation in the altar. It was the perfect size for a small obsidian disc she carried with her. The journal described it as a key, a conduit to the other side. As the moon reached its zenith, bathing the clearing in an ethereal glow, Elena began the ritual.
She placed the obsidian disc into the indentation and whispered the words she had memorized from the journal. The air crackled with energy.
From the heart of the altar, a soft light emerged. It grew in intensity, swirling and pulsing. The whispers reached a fever pitch, then transformed into cries of relief as glowing figures began to rise from the altar. They swirled around Elena, their light washing over her in waves of gratitude before fading into the night sky.
Elena watched as the last of the spirits disappeared, a sense of peace settling over her. The whispers were gone, replaced by a tranquil silence. The forest was finally at peace.
As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of rose and gold, Elena turned and walked away from the clearing, leaving the spirits to their well-deserved rest. She carried their story with her, a reminder of the darkness that can linger and the courage it takes to let go. Visual, the forest fades to black, and glowing text appears. Thank you for exploring the forgotten with us. Subscribe for more stories from Whispered Realms.